I'm Susan Steele Mulholland, and welcome to Art Beat. During this edition of Art Beat, we are at the University of the Arts in Center City, Philadelphia, where over 1,500 students are pursuing an education in the visual and performing arts. There's electricity in the air, and I hope we've caught it for you, and that you feel the creative energy during this program.
The University of the Arts is an amalgam of two century-old colleges, the Philadelphia College of Art and Design and the Philadelphia College of Performing Arts, which together with the Schubert Theater make up the University of the Arts. The idea was to bring together in one institution under one umbrella all of the arts, every kind of arts education and design in one place. So what we have now is the most comprehensive arts education institution in the country, and the only university which is devoted to the arts.
The university is committed to the growth of the individual artist through mastery of skills. In metalsmithing, students examine the functional object through forms that have both contemporary and historical relevance. Studio experience supports the school's philosophy that an artist must have the technical and philosophical know-how to make a personal and meaningful contribution to our culture. Students are encouraged to have a disciplined and intense involvement with the visual language. A dancer's world is unlike any other, physically demanding and athletic, sweaty, graceful, subtle, precise, and elegant. Swordplay also involves choreography, and to be effective must be learned. of Music is dedicated to the preparation and training of young musicians for a professional career in performance, composition, music theory, and/or music education. The common thread found in every class we visited at the University of the Arts was the caring, instructional involvement of the teachers, who are artists themselves.
And then crescendo later. Stay in the mezzo forte. Okay? Later you have a crescendo. Once again.
Choke longer and get more acting out of it. Like choke, 2, 3, 4, 5, smack! Okay? Instead from the wild punch. Ah! Oh! All right, stop. Now, good. Now, while you're acting, be sure we get 2 guys lined up to the judge. And Jesse, don't get your pelvis back here. It's got to be right here, so presumably Eric's elbow could really nail you. All right? One more time from the wild punch. Ah! Oh! Yes! Keep going. All right, that's fine. Very well done. Start doing your aerobics and be ready for me.
We're going to be done like for a film, then they would actually make the lines clear enough that it was.
Training in stage combat is important to stage actors because it enhances their concentration, balance, coordination, and acting skills, and certification enhances their employment potential.
Yeah! All right, gentlemen, very well done. Now you get some idea of the stamina it's going to take to do 2 more fights after this and make 10. Okay, I want to go over the envelopment core. And Eric, you got to hawk your distance because you're getting too close to him. Probably think of taking only a small lunge instead of your biggest, and be sure when he comes back at you to fully recover. Okay, let's take a look at that. Okay, stop. One more time. That was better, but when you take the final thrust, don't take any lunge at all. Okay. One more time. Good, keep going. Ah! All right, now stop a second. What you're giving me on the drive is a steady 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I'd like to do is emphasize the force. It goes bing, bang, bosh. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're alive. From the thrust. Beautiful. Okay, nice. Now, this is my fault. This drive is so long. Is there any way on the second part of it you can pull your feet in so your final thrust has safety distance? Let's take this drive again. Yeah, good. Now, watch this. Don't have too wide a 4. Give me the last thrust. What we're looking, that is the perfect, that's what we want. Now, we want to avoid 2 mistakes. I don't need this, which is too much 4. And I don't need this, which is too close. So as we work on that drive, this is what we're going to aim for. Boom, right? Okay.
One of the substantive reasons for bringing together all the arts is that I think the arts themselves are beginning to become much more interdisciplinary. The boundaries between different art forms are breaking down, and therefore we think arts education also ought to be interdisciplinary, with people working together from different disciplines. The same is true with design and engineering. Industrial design is getting to be a much more important part of the engineering and manufacturing process. For our products to be competitive in the world, they have to be well designed, not just good looking, but working well.
Although industrial design is the second largest department at the University of the Arts, very few students coming in really know anything about it. Only 4 out of about 100 students coming in every year really do know what industrial design is about. People in general don't understand that the products that are around them, the cars, the dishwashers, the appliances, the consumer goods, just about everything they touch and use in their daily lives, it was created by an industrial designer, given form by an industrial designer to solve a problem of some human value. It's a wonderful discipline. Many people think of architecture or mechanical engineering, but they don't go ahead and think about the problem of industrial design, making things for people that are produced by industry. But here we have a program, 3 years in duration, that trains students to become very good designers. They're very resourceful, very full of imagination, really able to address a problem and solve it. Some of the problems that they've been looking at, for example, are just the heat gun they use in the shop every day. This is a sophomore project, shows the level of skill that they develop very quickly in designing a product that solves a problem. If you look at this item here, this is an air conditioning unit. You would not think of it so because you think of it as a big box, but part of the training that we give here is to encourage people to think of things in new ways and to realize that there are different ways to solve the problem. Ways that are more attractive perhaps and more useful. For example, this product here is based on an abacus, thinking about an abacus, which is an ancient product, and making a calculator that works somewhat like an abacus does. This is hard to believe as a flashlight, but that was the inspiration. You see it as a candle holder, perhaps if you saw that at your grandmother's house, but when you do this to it, it becomes a light that you can direct. All of this is in search of new ways of looking at products that we live with throughout our lives. We have many very talented students with good imaginations, and I'd like to simply pass it on to a few of them to explain one product that they've been working on for Tyco. This is a common practice here where over 20 industries come to the university each year to work with the students to get the benefits of their imagination and resourcefulness.
This is Backpack Bear, and he made honorable mention. This is the concept my partner and I developed for Tyco. It falls into the promotional plush category, and it's called Backpack Bear. It's a koala bear that we had put together, who has a vest and goggles, who wears a backpack with a bedroll. We made all this to fit children from the ages of 2 to 6, and we had tried them on, and they fit pretty well. And it's to be worn, a little too big to put it on, but worn over the kid's back. And the reason we did this was because a lot of couples starting with families, taking their kids places, or it'd be security or a friend to bring along with you traveling. So the whole travel aspect's there with Backpack Jack, like a mountain man type thing. He comes with an adventure story, a lantern, which is a nightlight.
That we had designed for Tyco, and what we wanted to do was pick a category, and there were about 5 categories to choose from, and we picked plush toy, and so we sat around thinking, brainstorming, hating each other, arguing.
Our teachers presented the project, and then we had to, that this is what it is in 5 categories, and we didn't immediately come together as partners. We had to choose partners, and so that slowly formed. And then we presented our ideas, or we had to come up with ideas, and that's when trouble began.
We couldn't agree on anything at all. And what was great was that we persisted about finding an idea, and we finally just locked ourselves in a room and had it out. And we decided that we wanted to come up with something that maybe wasn't so right for Tyco, but was right for us. And so we were happy about that. We wanted to be happy about the project. And so we wanted some sort of intimacy with the toy. So Phil wanted to do looking in its eyes, because that has a connection. And so then we decided, well, Viewmaster, or Tyco makes the Viewmaster, and that they really haven't done anything with it since Viewmaster was done. So wouldn't it be neat to put a Viewmaster inside, something that a child could hold and have it, what you do is look into its eyes, and it has a Viewmaster reel inside its head. And when you press your nose against its nose, the light goes on inside its head, and you see a 3D picture, and you can turn its reel.
The slides.
Yeah.
So that it's got arms that are already ready to hug you, and you just press it up kind of like this, and just hug it, and look inside, and you get some great stuff inside. And this part of the project, doing the animal, was fairly easy once we decided on the concept. It was a matter of getting the right looking animal, which is more fights over that, and then putting it in its head, and that was relatively easy. The harder part came when we actually had to do the commercial.
This is my monkey. Look in his eyes. I see a surprise. Now he's looking back at me. I never know just what I'll say.
The new Viewmaster Zoo Collection from Tyco.
They're worth looking into.
What you've just been listening to is state-of-the-art digital synthesizers that were in one of the 5 rooms that the William Penn Foundation has kindly given us the money to build, and allowed us to accumulate all this wonderful technology to prepare a very unique program here at the University of the Arts. We're the only university that offers not only this kind of state-of-the-art instruction in computers and synthesizers and that kind of technology, but also standard recording procedures, techniques that happens in the other room that we have there. Basically, what we try to do here is to provide a real-world training environment so that the student comes out aware of the job opportunities that are available for this new technology. Not only is the technology new, but the type of job opportunities are changing substantially as the time goes on. For example, one of the faculty members, Mark Disciani, and myself are involved in doing, we've designed a small computer system that we have installed for the Flyers, and they're using that to play back music during the sports games. So there's a job market you wouldn't have even thought of existed 3 or 4 years ago. So basically we try to be a very kind of hands-on, practical approach school, but without doing it in a way that shortchanges in the traditional values that a conservatory should offer the student. They get all the traditional stuff, and they come here and work with this very fine equipment. And what you heard there was an example, not the only way the machines can be used, but one of the ways that most people hear them used, and that is to simulate orchestral simulations of instruments. This is what you'll hear on television for movies and stuff like that. In the hands of one composer, I was able to create all that sound and hear my orchestral piece without having to worry about a rehearsal or funding or copyists and that kind of thing. And this is a very liberating type of technology for composers nowadays, to be able to complete a piece, have it in your hand, walk out the door. I mean, I tell my students that every day you're in this room, you will write music and hear every minute of music you write for your entire time. No composer in history has ever had that kind of ability to be able to hear every note that you do at the instant you do it, and also be able to change the sounds and not have to fight with a bassoonist or the oboe player or stuff like that. So it's a wonderful environment to work in.
The University of the Arts takes great pride in being on the cutting edge in the use of technology as a tool for design. Students develop graphic, sculptural, and spatial design skills, as well as a sensitivity to the humanistic uses of technology.
The focus of the University of the Arts and its constituent colleges throughout their history has been on careers for artists and designers. We are very much focused on opportunities for our students to be very productive members of society.
This is the animation room at the University of the Arts. This is the only institution on the East Coast that offers a Bachelor of Fine Arts specifically in animation. The room that you're in right now has a sophomore class of animation students who are working on short projects, sync sound, which they will complete by the end of the semester. We'd like to show you 3 of our students, Andrew, John, and Lorinda. Andrew's doing cutout work. John is doing a pencil test, which will eventually be rendered in color. And Lorinda is also doing pencil test drawings.
What I'm doing here is there's a style of animation called cutouts, and there's several different ways of doing it. I'm doing it the rich man's way, because I have many different cutouts. Instead of using one cutout and having the character go across the screen, shooting it frame by frame, I'm just gluing them all down. And what's going to happen is this little guy right here is going to fly across the screen, and he's going to come back down and land. I'm going to use it for my end title, and it's not the only type of animation I'm going to be doing for this project. I'm going to be using hand drawings, and it's all going to be going to a soundtrack made up by me and my friends, music, all original scores and things.
What I'm working on right now is a second semester sophomore project. It's a 5-minute piece. It's my version of Die Hard, and what I'm working on right now is, I guess, a primitive version of rotoscoping. First I would take an actual picture of the place that I wanted to animate, this being the Chrysler Building, and I would trace over it. And what's going to happen is there are going to be several shots of stills played to a soundtrack. And what's going to happen is it's just a very basic, blatant action piece. I guess Bruce Willis being the catalyst in this.
I'm interpreting a short song by Sinead O'Connor. It's called Jackie. It's basically just a really short ghost story that she wrote. It's not really a hard thing that I'm doing. It's just a story of a woman who lost her husband at sea, and she died while he was at sea, and now she spends her ghostly life looking for him on the beach. And it's about it. This is about the hardest thing I have to do. I have to turn the scene, make it look like the camera is tracking around her. So I have to map it out on the field guide to make it go smooth.
This is a Master Series Oxbury. This is the same kind of camera that's used at Disney, where artwork is filmed and eventually becomes projected on the screen. Right now, Jennifer is doing a technique called rotoscoping, where she's tracing from a live-action film of ocean waves the ripples on the water. Last year, our animation students worked on a 30-second logo ID spot for the Spectrum in Philadelphia. They did both the animation and the sound.
Truly the most attractive facility available for student productions is the magnificently renovated 1,668-seat Schubert Theater, owned and operated by the university. It serves as home to a number of regional performing arts organizations and is available for student performances for 4 weeks each semester. The University of the Arts believes that artists do not spring forth from the earth, but that they learn to be artists from other artists. Their philosophy also encompasses the belief that artistic achievements have traditionally been the most significant remainders of civilization. For more information about the University of the Arts, please contact the Admissions Office, the University of the Arts, Haviland Hall, Broad and Pine Streets, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19102. 215-875-4808. This is Susan Steele Mulholland, and thank you for watching Artbeat.